Hey, it's Kat, and I'm going to show you how to make a very simple but beautiful birthday card. So I'm starting with daisy white cardstock, and it's cut to 4 3/4 inches by 3.5 inches. I'm using pine ink, and I'm going to use that to stamp kind of a scene. So I'm going to start with these pine trees, and I'm going to stamp 2 of them. And so Okay, and I overlapped them, and you can kind of see that it kind of creates a neat little effect. Then I'm going to do the second one, and I'm going to use this mountain scene. I live in Colorado, and so I think these are really cool for the, for birthdays for people here, or even just from here. So I wiped off the edge. I got some extra ink on the edge of my block, so I wiped that off with my chamois just to make sure I don't get any ink on my cardstock. So I'm cleaning my stamps, excuse me. And next step is I'm going to add some watercolor just below this mountain and tree scene. So I kind of did it beforehand, and I created some wells with the watercolor paints that matched my cards. And so I'm just using my watercolor brush. This one's really cool because it already has the water in it. I really like using this so I don't have to worry about keeping a cup of water on my workstation. So I'm just kind of dabbing on, brushing on this, green watercolor paint. As you can see, it just kind of randomly, there's just to create a little kind of ground there. Then I'm going to use blue. And so I created a blue that kind of matches the blue cardstock that I'll mat it with. And again, I'm just going to kind of brush this on and narrowing it down towards the bottom, but I'm leaving room because I'm going to add a sentiment at the bottom of this card. Okay, so now I'm going to add the sentiment, and I'm just using a simple happy birthday with black ink. And so I'm just inking this up, and I'm going to stamp the bottom of both of these cards. Okay, I'm just going to clean off my stamp here. And now I'm going to, I added the little foam sheet just to help with the stamping. All right, so now I'm going to use some splatters. I'm using a Sapphire Shimmer brush, and basically I'm just flicking it to put that splatter effect in the background. I am using a piece of scratch paper to kind of protect the bottom because I only wanted the splatters on the top of my card. I am going to wipe down my work surface because that ink gets everywhere, and my shimmer brush happens to be leaking a little bit. So now I've got the 2 scenes. The next step I'm going to do is add a little bit of blue, kind of a jute ribbon that I have. It's from Close to My Heart, which is now retired, long been retired, but I still love it, and I have some. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a glue dot. I'm sorry, it's kind of hard to see that, but I'm putting a glue dot on the back side, kind of around the division of the blue and the green. And so now I'm going to grab a glue dot for the other side, and I'm going to put it on the back side, which I'm managing to have some difficulty getting it to stick. And basically then I'm going to extend that ribbon and have it, this was definitely the easier way, is to put it down on the surface and instead of trying to do it in the air. And then I'm going to trim my ribbon and add it with this to the second glue dot. I don't really need to secure the top, the center, and you certainly can put glue dots along the front too, but I just find it works fine just to do one on either side. So again, I'm repeating that process on this card base, and then we'll move on to creating the bow and matting them. So my next thing is I'm going to make little bows, and some people find this very challenging. I like making the bows, but I just kind of make a little loop and I tie it like a normal bow, and then I just trim down the edges. Sometimes I'll pre-cut the piece, other times I'll just do it straight on the roll, and I'll use glue dot to secure that. So this one I'm using it straight from the roll. The other one was a piece that I had, a scrap of it that I had left over. So I just kind of tighten it down to the size that I want and kind of angle those edges. Okay, so now the final step is kind of matting it. So I'm going to mat it on Sapphire Cardstock, and that cardstock is cut at 5 inches by 4 3/4. And then I will mat that onto the pine cardstock, and that one is cut to 5 1/4 inches by 4 inches. Now I'll mount this onto a card base. I love the card close to my heart card bases. They're very simple to and easy to have on hand. I love the framed look, so it's kind of got the white followed by the pine, and then the sapphire, and then the white again. It really creates a neat framed look and adds some dimension with the different layers. So I'm using a little glue dot just to stick down that bow, and I have 2 easy cards, and here's a third version, which I did with a different set of pine trees. Thanks for watching. Hope you'll check back with me.